Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Let's Talk News. I'm your host, Leticia Remauro, and we have a lot to talk about today. I'm going to wait for you all to jump on, but for anybody out there who isn't a regular participant, Let's Talk News is where you drive the conversation, meaning your comments will drive the conversation as we talk about today's news and maybe dig a little deeper into issues that you might have heard about, but didn't quite think of in the way we think of them here. And today, boy, Tish James, boy, oh boy, interesting what's going on with that. She got indicted today. Hello, Francine. Good to have you. Hi, Kevin. How are you? Good to have you here. Yeah, so, Tish James did get indicted, and there's been all kinds of conversation about Trump's retribution with her and with Comey. And I think that the Democrats are really missing the point here. They're acting as if what Trump is doing is anything other than what Biden did or any other president has done in his career. Uh, Trump isn't getting retribution. Trump is correcting wrong. Because if there wasn't uh, evidence that Tish James and James Comey did something wrong, then the trial wouldn't go forward. Very different than the Trump trial, where they had to take this law that had never been used before and try to apply it and confuse the jury and use a judge who was admitting all kinds of odd evidence and not allowing the defense to defend the president. So, big difference in what's going on here. And I don't think anybody would have done anything different. Hello, Debbie. Good to have you with us. How are you, Cam? Good to see you from the Big Rotten Apple. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. No one is above the law. No one is above the law. And I think that public opinion is on Trump's side on this, because if they felt that that what Tish and Comey were claiming about Trump and all the others, right, were claiming about Trump, if they had felt that that was true, they would have never voted to put Trump back in as president. And they did. Not only did they do it, but they did it in almost every county in the country. They did it with the popular vote. They did it with the electoral college. They did it in a way that no Republican has won their seat ever. Hello, Andrew Dorman. Good to have you. So I'm going to just share the screen just quickly. Hopefully it'll work out. Sometimes it doesn't. Let's see. All righty. Here we go. So this is that is that's an ad for fitness. Okay. So this is New York Attorney General Leticia James charged in fraud case after pressure campaign by Trump. All right. So blah, 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 blah. It's a lot of blah, blahs about, about Tish and about Comey and political retribution and how Halligan had to present the case herself because nobody else would do it. But I want you to concentrate on this right here. All right. Abe Lowell, James' lawyer and a prominent attorney representing multiple Trump targets, said James, quote, flatly and forcefully denies these charges. James is scheduled to make an initial appearance in the federal court in Norfolk, Virginia on October 24. Okay, so that I wanted to read that to you for a reason, because I wanted to dig a little deeper into James Lowell. But first, let's say hello. Hi, Colleen. Good to have you. Hello, Gloria. Good to have you with us. So who is this James Lowell, and why is he representing all of the clients that, quote unquote, Trump is going after? Isn't that interesting? And wouldn't that be a little overwhelming, considering that Lowell left a boutique law firm? Left a large law firm and decided to open a boutique law firm on his own, basically. So he represented Hunter Biden. He he advised Ivanka Trump and Jared Kushner in the Russiagate scandal. Hmm. Of course, Leticia James, Lisa Cook, she's the governor of the Federal Reserve, Robert Menendez, and Miles Taylor and Mark Zaid. Um, he's represented these former officials who had their security clearances revoked by the Trump administration. So I don't have a lot on him right now because I just started going down that wormhole, but maybe tomorrow we'll talk about an attorney who represents all these clients and who actually represented or advised Ivanka and Jared. I think that's interesting. Very interesting. Hi there, Susan. How are you? Good to see you. Maybe he knows the judge. Yeah, well, he's a prominent attorney, they say, in DC, and he knows a lot of people, and but that concerns me greatly, right? I don't know. If I was being brought up on federal charges, I'd want my own attorney. I'd want somebody who has lots of big brains working with them and at their disposal a lot of good lawyers and a law firm. But this guy just left his big law firm and opened a boutique firm and now is representing all these high profile cases. I wonder I wonder where he sends the bills. Are they separate bills or is the DCCC paying for it? Or maybe some of that dark money that we saw and we talked about yesterday. I don't know. I don't want to accuse anybody. We're going to dig into that tomorrow. I think that's what tomorrow's show will be about. Oh, also, I wanted to let you know that we talked, I think it was day before yesterday, and I brought up a charge that I had heard that some blue states had gained some congressional seats because of the census. I want you to know that was not true. I did, dig deeper into that, and it's not true. So if you hear anybody saying that, it's not true. The census, California and New York actually lost seats, and a lot of red states gained them. Some blue states gained, but not much. But it was equal. It was equal. I think in all 7 seats were lost and 7 seats were gained. So basically, they were just moved around to other places. Okay, so Tish James just popped up on my information screen. Didn't have a lot of time to look into it, so I'll do more about that tomorrow. But what I did look into today was our president and Hamas actually agreeing to the first half of the deal for peace in the Middle East. And I wanted you to take a look at our media. So the president worked hard. Leaders of lots of countries worked with him to kind of get this first phase done so that the hostages could go home and we can move towards peace. And you would think that people would applaud that. And in fact, one Democrat did applaud it. His name is John Fetterman. And oh, that's right. Tomorrow is Friday. I thought you were off. You're absolutely right. We'll take care of that on Sunday. Sorry, I keep forgetting the days. Thank you, Deb. So Fetterman has been a big proponent for Israel and a very pro-Israel senator. And so he was on and he actually had some kind words to say about Donald Trump and about this deal. And so did many other world leaders. But listen to what he had to say. And I'll say in advance, at one point in time, we had a lot of fun with John Fetterman. And we thought that it was crazy that he got elected, and I'm eating my words now.
Both sides of the aisle are now heaping praise on President Trump for securing phase 1 of a peace deal between Israel and Hamas. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer releasing this statement saying, quote, The work is not over, but any step to end this nightmare is one that should be celebrated and carefully implemented and followed through on. Also, House Speaker Mike Johnson out with this, posting in part, "This is a truly historic achievement, one that only President Trump could have delivered." And then there's Democratic Senator John Fetterman posting this, quote, "I congratulate POTUS on this historic peace plan that releases all the hostages. Now enduring peace is in the region is possible. Our parties are different, but we have a shared ironclad commitment to Israel and its people." The Pennsylvania Democrat now joins us live on the program. Good to have you on the show today, Senator. Good to see you. What a momentous day this is for, I think, not just the president and the administration, but for both parties. I remember when you first began to get a lot of criticism from Democrats in your own party about your support for Israel and your support for President Trump's efforts to try to bring peace into that region. Are you surprised by this reaction today? And isn't this a win for everyone?
Well, I know I have I've taken a lot of criticism because I've been very committed to Israel from the door of this. I don't really understand that. I think our party should have been firmly behind Israel through this, but I'm going to follow Israel through it. And President Trump has a very strong commitment to Israel, and that's why I celebrate and support most of the things that they've done, including the Iranian nuclear sites. I believe I might have been the only Democrat that supported them through it. So now today, I think it's entirely appropriate to celebrate this. Thank God this terrible war is going to end, and these poor souls kept underground for over 2 years can come back home. So I don't understand why anyone's reaction would be other than that.
You know, Bill brought this up earlier in the program. There's a lot to come in the next 3 or 4 days, and one little thing going wrong can, upend all of this. And we've seen that in the past historically with this region. How do you feel about where we are in this moment right now? I know it's a joyous moment and we're all celebrating, but do you have a little bit of pause too?
No, I mean, I think it's incredibly comprehensive kind of a plan. And you also see now you have Hamas fully saying they're committed to this. And of course, Israel is now too. But what's also very important too, all of the Arab nations around, whether it's Egypt and Turkey and Qatar as well, have really pushed Hamas saying this is going to be the best deal you're ever going to get. And this awful war needs to end. So I'm actually optimistic that we have a chance for enduring peace. Another part of it is what Israel has accomplished through this entire war. They have destroyed Hamas, they have destroyed Hezbollah, and also they stopped Iran for acquiring a nuclear weapon, and I fully supported that. Now Syria now is free. Now think what's accomplished here. So that's why we could have true peace in the region now.
Do you think the president deserves a Nobel Peace Prize?
Well, I mean, if this sticks, I think the whole point of having a Nobel Peace Prize is for ending wars and promoting peace. And I'm going to make a direct appeal to the president. I hope he chooses to provide the tomahawks to the Ukrainians too, and give them the tools that they need to push back against Russia. And if he brings the Ukrainian war to its end, I'll be the Democrat leading the committee for his Nobel Prize Peace for ending both of these terrible wars.
Yeah.
So he's going to lead the charge to nominate the president for the Nobel Peace Prize if he can bring Ukraine to heel too. The 32 wars he's already solved, I guess, is not enough. Supposedly tomorrow is the decision on who will get the Nobel Peace Prize. So we're going to look out for that. Yes, thank you, Andrew. And I'm sure that Fetterman needs your luck because right now they're jumping all over him. So I'm glad he mentioned the Nobel Peace Prize because part of the thing that the Democrats are saying, and you're not going to believe it, is that President Trump got Hamas to decide to accept today. He gave them the deadline that he gave them because tomorrow the announcement on who will be the Nobel Peace Prize winner will be coming. So this is our news media. This is Democrats. This is the spin. The spin is that he only did this to get a Nobel Peace Prize. Didn't do it to save lives. Didn't do it to bring peace to the Middle East. Didn't do it to save centuries-old conflict and change that region into a productive, flourishing, and prosperous region. No. He did it because he wants a peace prize. I can't. I just can't. Their arguments are thinner and more bizarre than ever before. Now Illinois and Chicago. To end the war, yeah, he needs to end that war for sure. But anyway, look at what the headlines were this morning. This is crazy. So the New York Times: Trump Gaza peace deal, a new hope for the Middle East ? Washington Post: Trump's peace plan, a game changer or a pipe dream? Trump's Gaza deal, economic boom or political bust? I mean, this is the headline. These are the headlines. Now let me ask this question. If Obama, who, oh, by the way, won a Nobel Peace Prize and he actually didn't end any wars, he started conflicts. If Obama or Biden or Kamala were sitting in that seat doing what Trump is doing, which we all know that could never happen because they could never do it. But let's just pretend that they were. Do you think that the headlines would read that way? I posit to you that even just creating the plan and putting it out there would have gotten them applause from all of the media. Trump actually got an agreement, and we get question marks and more question marks. It makes you really concerned about our media, and it kind of explains why we have so much unrest in the streets with our young people, because this is the stuff that professors and pundits point to skew information. These headlines. Oh, let's see. I think this is an ad. Hi from Portsmouth, UK. Loving your live stream. Is there a sense? Oh no, I'm sorry. There isn't. I'm sorry. I thought it when I saw the nature photography. First of all, I love nature photography. So thank you for joining us, Charlie. Hi from Portsmouth, UK. Loving your live stream. Is there a sense from the liberal left in the U.S. that they cannot accept that the president of the United States has done something good for the world? Yes, Charlie, that's exactly what's going on. And thank you for joining us. You get bells for joining us because it's pretty late over in the UK, kind of middle of the night, right? So yeah, as I showed you, that's our headlines. It's the liberal media and the liberals, period, that will not accept him doing anything good. And on yesterday's show, we talked a little bit about why, because he has upset their apple cart. They wanted very much to undermine America, and he's bringing back manufacturing, oil drilling, and pride in the nation, and that is not something that the elites wanted. They are so full of it, and anything Trump does, they don't want to accept the truth. That's absolutely true. They have been lying about him since 2015, and they continue to lie. And the joke, Charlie, is that on them, because they're speaking to a very small fraction of people in America. And the larger portion of America, the workaday people, people like us here gathered tonight, we know better. And that's why Trump was elected historically to a second term. And that is why this whole nonsense that they're trying to push, that he's doing political retribution, is just what it is, nonsense. Buenas noches. Alexander Guzman, good to have you. Thank you for joining us, Alexander. We have a few people from that are not regulars on the show, and that's really great. Listen, the house of cards are falling. They really, really are. From Phoenix, nice to have you, Mr. Peterson. And so tell me what you think. What do you think about this peace deal? And what do you think about the media trying to spin this as if this is not a great thing? Tell me what you think. Why? Why do you think this is happening? Do you think that Trump is being treated equal to what Biden or Obama or Kamala would have been treated to if they were sitting in the seat making these deals, which we know they could never do it. He is doing what we voted for. They are after us. Trump is stopping at us all. Absolutely, he is. God bless President Trump. He's the best president and has done everything to make peace in the world. Indeed. So I'm going to show you. This clip. It's from a little known program called Democracy Now, but they have 3 million followers. So it's it reaches more people than Colbert. Listen to the propaganda they're spreading. Listen.
Mouine, can you respond to this hostage ceasefire deal? What do we know? What has been laid out? What hasn't?
Well, as you may recall, the Trump-Netanyahu proposal announced at the White House last week dealt with 3 sets of issues. The immediate ones, meaning an exchange of captives, Israeli withdrawal, humanitarian aid, and cessation of hostilities. Then post-war governance, basically Project Blair, putting him in charge as the viceroy of the Gaza Strip. And thirdly, but only very tangentially, political issues, the crisis that produced this crisis, if you will. The agreement that was signed yesterday in Egypt deals exclusively with the first set of issues. So Israel and the Palestinians have agreed on an exchange of captives. We don't yet know the details of that in terms of which Palestinians will be released from Israel's prison system and according to what schedule. There is a cessation of hostilities, and there's a statement earlier today that Qatar and the United States have guaranteed that hostilities will not resume. I think those are relatively worthless commitments because with Trump, you can't trust a word he says about anything. And Qatar is, of course, not in a position to compel this. And in terms of the Israeli withdrawal, there is an agreed line of withdrawal, but that also hasn't been clarified publicly. And some of these issues may, in fact, still be under discussion. The additional issues, post-war governance and the political issues, were entirely ignored. And this is seen as an achievement by Hamas, which very much wanted an agreement on the first set of issues, but was essentially being asked to commit political suicide and to accept national capitulation on behalf of the Palestinians with the other aspects. At one point, I think we're now at a fork in the road. A continuation of this process, while it's very welcome, of course, that the genocide may be coming to an end and is at least now paused, this is a renewed Oslo process with an even lower political ceiling. And the key issue now is there is massive global momentum for a different paradigm in which Palestinian rights, in which Israeli accountability for its actions replaces these meaningless, endless negotiations about nothing that result in nothing. And I think that momentum also helps explain why we have this agreement finally, one that the Biden administration systematically refused to implement, but that Trump was able to force Israel to accept with a single phone call. And maintaining and intensifying that momentum is absolutely essential to ensure that the genocide does not resume in full force, that ethnic cleansing remains off the agenda, and that the real political issues can finally be addressed in line with international law and Palestinian rights.
How much you want to bet that man never set foot in Israel or in Gaza? Just a thought. Mike Peterson, I think the military industrial complex is starting to fall for the Democrats. Well, I agree. But give me a little bit more, Mike. And what do you think they're going to do next, the Democrats? How do they get their feet underneath them again? Because we've got midterm elections coming up. So what do? They have to do something, right? And they've done some crazy shit. In 2018, we had Russiagate, and then we had the George Floyd situation. And then, of course, in 2020, we had COVID. There's always something that they come up with. So what will they do in 2026 to get their feet underneath them and to further undermine this president? Because now he's taking away all their talking points, right? If he has peace in the Middle East, the Free Palestine, gets shut right down. So what will the protests be for? Those protesters have to go away, those paid protesters. They need to discredit Trump because he's showing how incompetent and corrupt our government is. He's showing how easy it is to fix things and exposing their lies. That's absolutely the truth. I think that the media is setting up for maybe either Hamas or Israel changing their minds, and then the media will go for the jugular. Let's hope and pray they honor the deal. Okay, I'm with you. The media is like the Democrats. They don't want peace, always want wars, and now they're jealous of Trump. Well, you know what? War makes headlines. Peace doesn't. I think your president is one of the greatest presidents the world has ever seen. The liberal media will always do their best to bring him down. They find it hard to report anything good about him. Well, bravo. I agree with you, Charlie. It's I think so too. And you know why? Because especially now, he doesn't have another term, so he doesn't give a shit, right? I mean, the first term he was walking on eggshells. He was taking advice from the wrong people. He had to be concerned with reelection. But the gloves were off this time, because the truth is if he was not reelected, if he wasn't sitting in the White House right now, America, and if there was a Kamala Harris term, America would not be America anymore. It would be some other country, but it would not be America anymore. And Trump halted all that. And that's what's got them crazy. Jacqueline Pate or Pate. Meanwhile, Israel is still bombing Palestine. Really? So when did that happen? Tell us about it, and tell us why they go ahead and give your point of view, Jacqueline, because I'm sure that you're going to tell us that a genocide is being committed when we all know that it's not. But go ahead and give us some more information. I think they are done. Whatever they come up with is not working. Well, the whole party can't cave, right? They're going to have to do something. They have to rebrand. They have to figure out a way to do it. I mean, when you have people like Fetterman and Alan Dershowitz, Alan Dershowitz leaving the party was a huge, huge thing. You got people walking away from the Democrat Party. So how do they rebrand? I love that they're all talking about AOC being the leader. I think that's hysterical, and it's driving Chuck Schumer nuts. He halted them 3 times. They're running out of tactics. I would have said that too, but we lived through George Floyd, right? We lived through George Floyd. We lived through Russiagate. We lived through J6. We lived through the Hunter Biden laptop from hell. We lived through COVID. I don't think they'll ever stop. Their goal always was to be able to put a Democrat in the office of president and to keep that person there, or to keep a Democrat there forevermore. Remember, they talk about, saving democracy. First of all, we're a republic. And second of all, the authoritarians in this instance is the Democrats and Democrat members of Congress and their party. So fuck Chuck Schumer, used the F word on his last TV performance. Yeah, really. Yeah, winning us. We are winning because we have them back on their heels. And the man is just, I swear that God has given him the direction to go to make this world a better place. Because as we've said 1,000 times, this is a global problem. This is not just about America. It's about Charlie over in the UK. It's about Norway. It's about Sweden. It's about Scotland, Ireland, France, Germany, Italy. It's happening everywhere. Is there a chance Mr. Trump can have another term? Coming from the UK, I'm not too sure how it works. I sure hope he can. No. The only way that would happen is if there was a constitutional amendment, as there was a constitutional amendment to limit the president to 2 terms. There would have to be an amendment to the Constitution to give him 3 terms. The one way that it could happen without that amendment would be in case of emergency, like if we were invaded on our own shores and we were in wartime. Possibly, because we would be in turmoil, we wouldn't hold the election and he would remain president. But I don't think so, Charlie, because we've said this here on this program before. If somebody invaded in this country, Americans have owned so many guns and are so fiercely protective of their country that they'd end the war before it really got started. Even before the troops came in, especially in the South, they'd say, listen, we got this, no problem. But you know what? Every good leader knows when it's time to go. He's laying the foundation. There'll never be another Donald Trump, but there'll certainly be people who are empowered by him. And that's what's important, is that he brings everybody into the tent. He's not acting unilaterally. He's got great people like Rubio, like Vance, like Kennedy, like Bondi, Noem. We have such a large bench that any one of them can be president after him. So we'll see what happens. Trump's always results. He really did. This is also a holy war. I agree 100%. Okay, we went over again. So I'm out tomorrow and Saturday because nobody gives a shit about news on Saturday and Friday and Saturday. They all go out drinking. But I'm back on Sunday. We need your president's policies over here in the UK. Have you seen how bad it is over here? Our government is a joke. Yes, Charlie, we have seen what Starmer's doing. We have talked about it here. I mean, the fact that you have a socialist as your prime minister is just crazy. And we've always known that the king leaned very, very liberal. I hope that your future king is not as liberal as Charles, but it's crazy. They have taken your country from you, and we especially on this program have been watching you for tips because we saw the invasion happen there, and we have tried to support you best we can from here. Lending advice and sounding the alarms, and I'm very sorry that has happened to you. I don't know what to say because I feel like you need an enormous uprising. You need a political power play, and I just don't know that you're equipped to do it. Not you, Charlie, but the UK. I don't know if there's the mechanism there to do it, and I don't know if you have a bench team is really what I'm saying. So that's really going to be up to you. You guys have to get the rank and file regular workaday guy or gal to get in there. And you need another Margaret Thatcher. So go find her and get her and put her in. You can do it. If we could do it, you can do it. Let's see. But they treated Trump with great respect regardless in the UK. Yes, because their misery is about, I would say, 5 years ahead of us, right? They were finding this misery 5 years earlier than we started with Biden. So they've been experiencing it far longer than us. Same with France, same with Italy, Germany. They've already come full circle and have already gone the liberal route, let all these migrants into their country, saw that they got undermined, and then now they have elected strong conservative leadership in some of those countries. The UK is not one of them. Starmer is not. Starmer is a socialist, and he says it proudly. I mean, it's terrible. Enjoy your weekend. Thank you. Well, we still have comments. The left looks like Super Earth from the Helldivers games. It's a tyrannical regime that screams liberty and democracy. At least Super Earth is entertaining with its propaganda. I love that. Liberty. Excellent. Well, I'm going to give you, Mike Peterson, the last word. So good night, everybody. Have a great weekend. I'll see you here Sunday, 8 o'clock. And we'll talk about this Lowell guy. Let's see what ties he has. I don't know. I won't want to share my lawyer. All right. Talk to you on Sunday.